morning, Dopey. Your favorite podcast. Now a YouTube show.
Good morning, Dopey, and welcome to Good Morning, Dopey. Another episode of Good Morning, Dopey, a deep and yet still very shallow dive into the daily reflections. My name is Dave, and I am joined by my faithful colleague, Howard.
Colleague. Very professional.
What do you think?
I like that. I like when you begin the show, it's like very NPR. It's like, good morning, Dopey.
My name is Terry
My name
Gross,
is Terry
and
Gross.
welcome to
And
All
welcome
Things
to
Considered.
Another episode of Dopey
Let me ask you a question, How.
Asks.
When do you think I'm going to get on All Things Considered?
Tomorrow. I'll make a call.
All right, great. Make a call.
There you go.
You want to hear
Let's
some
do what's
comments,
next.
or you want to just dive in?
Let's hear one comment and make sure it's negative.
All right. Howie's a fucking idiot.
We know that already.
All right. I will never be so dishonest with myself as to say there is a God, loving or not.
I will never
This
be
guy
so
this guy
dishonest.
accused me of being stoned. This is Isaac Kennedy.
Wait, he would never be so dishonest with himself to say there is a God?
Yes,
So he doesn't believe in God.
that's what it sounds like.
Okay.
You ready? This is gonna.
I mean, that's his take. That's fine.
it's not. That's the beginning. There's
Yeah,
more.
but he's allowed to believe that. That's
There's
fine.
more. Do you want to hear more?
Yes, of
But
course.
wait, there's more.
Yes.
For me,
Isaac, right?
yes. If I was to say there's a God, I'd be living a lie.
Mm-hmm.
And living in my alcoholism would be more sincere than to believe in a God.
Whoa.
Did you just burp or say whoa?
I said, whoa.
Yeah. The God concept is the only thing I don't agree with in Alcoholics Anonymous. But thank goodness I met a man who taught me how to work this program without fooling myself into believing some spirit who controls everything exists. Thank God for the atheist in this program.
I mean, that's great.
Yeah.
If someone who doesn't believe in God is able to get through
I feel like
a
that
program
could be
that's centered
that
around
could be
God,
a
it's
dopey
amazing.
reflection.
A dopey reflection, yeah.
Like, you know how we're talking about doing
the 365
yeah,
days
that
of
could be
dopey?
one of them. Because it's like interesting.
Yeah.
It's an atheist take.
Well, if you have a problem with God, I can understand it being very difficult to reconcile the daily reflections. But based on when they were written, it makes perfect sense. I mean, it adds up. That's kind of the only thing around. And it's very difficult to cater to people who don't believe in God because you have to sort of figure out what their belief system is. Like, it's very easy to say to someone, God, right? And then, like, that's it. Like, everybody understands that language. If you're from a, Judeo-Christian background, you get it. But if you don't believe that stuff, it's like, well, what do you believe? Are you going to make something special for
there's
everyone?
another step even after that, which
Go
is
for it.
like I was telling you before. I mean, my sponsor now is a big time Christian, but his God isn't Jesus.
A big time Christian.
He's a big time Christian.
Yeah. What
But-
does that mean?
I don't know. He's Christian and he's big time. Do you know my sponsor has the tattoos "real deal" across his knuckles?
I think you told me that.
But "real" is spelled REEL because he's a
he's in
fisherman. And he's
Fisherman.
got tattoos all over his neck.
Right.
And his God is love. And I think that's very
That's
beautiful.
fantastic.
And my old sponsor was a Jew, an atheist Jew,
Mm-hmm.
and his God was surrender. And I think I was actually at a meeting this morning and we were going over the 11th step, which of course you know is through prayer and meditation, something.
Sure.
Here, let me find the 11th
Oh,
step.
here we go.
Hold on.
We'll just pause real life so you can look it up.
Thank you. Yes. Sought through prayer and meditation to improve our conscious contact with God as we understood Him, praying only for knowledge of His will and the power to carry that out. And we were reading a book. There's a book called The 12 and 12, which is like essays about the steps.
Okay.
And the person who wrote and then it's Bill Wilson wrote the book.
Okay.
And it's a very controversial book, or kind of controversial book, because Bill Wilson started AA, but he didn't get any publishing money from the big book of Alcoholics Anonymous. It's written like anonymously. And then he wrote the 12 and 12 in the 60s. He put his name on it to get the publishing. And then also, he was also experimenting with LSD in the 60s, interestingly enough.
Wait a minute. So he got sober after alcohol and then switched to LSD.
You don't really switch from alcohol to It's
Started-
very rare anybody's. It's like, I switched from decaf to Sanka.
But I'm saying, like,
you don't switch from alcohol to LSD.
was he still drinking?
No, he was sober.
That's
He
what
was
I'm saying.
sober. He was
I mean,
sober.
He was sober, and then
he was
said,
sober
"Let me- I
probably
need
for
something
50
else."
years, but he took LSD to bolster his spirituality. He believed it did. He also, when he got sober, he was in one of these sanitariums, and they used this old style medicine called belladonna root, which was like prescribed back then for
Okay.
alcoholics, and it has a psychedelic quality to it, which is really interesting because he had a white light experience, like a big spiritual awakening, which lots of people think was connected to him eating this belladonna. And then when he was very depressed also, and he took LSD and he felt like it bolstered his spiritual connection. And look for some
I get
Dopey
that.
videos about that in the future.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting. That stuff is definitely fascinating. People who feel like these psychedelics bring them closer to God, and therefore it's almost like the exact opposite of their addiction,
Well, I
right?
mean,
Where it's like, I have clarity,
well, I'll
That's-
tell you this, that I've taken a lot of psychedelics in my life.
obviously.
And one thing that is often true in the psychedelic experience is it's very easy to experience the interconnectedness of the universe within a psychedelic experience. And it happens in a lot of different ways. Like,
That's
just,
great.
does that sound interesting to you at all?
Definitely sounds interesting. Doesn't sound like
How about you
appealing.
and me,
Yeah.
Toronto,
Yeah.
ayahuasca with Dr. Gabor Mate?
Oh, I love it.
Would you do it?
Not even in a million.
You would
years.
never do it.
No, but I would watch you freak out and throw up all over the place.
You would
and
never
shit your
do it.
pants. No, I have no interest in it.
Okay, you and me, microdosing mushrooms, and San Francisco.
Nothing that has the word mushroom in it is going in my mouth. I can't stand mushrooms. They taste like dirt.
Okay, you and me,
Although I've had truffles.
you and me,
Truffles?
eating ecstasy in a doctor's office to work on a relationship.
No.
You would do that?
No.
So none of these things, all off the table.
Yeah, they don't interest me. I don't feel like I
Okay,
need that.
you and me injecting ketamine to cope with our depression.
Obviously.
You would
that
do
goes
that?
without saying.
Okay.
That's a Friday.
That's
day-
this Friday.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
25th.
I don't know. I think that so the point was in the reading of step 11 and the 12 and 12 was the idea, it's a very cool idea really, is that through prayer and meditation you become a channel for higher power, for infinite love, for infinite compassion, for the good stuff.
Okay.
I think in one of the daily reflections we read the St. Francis prayer. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You do?
I don't remember the prayer, but I remember you reading it.
I'm going to read it again.
Please.
It's like this is really like I think this is the deal, right?
Go for it.
If we can do this, and I don't think there's very little anyone could ever say that says that this is anything besides a way to live. You ready?
Go for it.
This is the number
hear
one
it.
prayer that I've ever heard. Lord, make me a channel of thy peace, that where there is hatred, I may bring love. Here, I want you to be on the screen for this too.
Uh-huh.
So again, Lord, make me a channel of thy peace,
Yep.
for where there is hatred, I may bring love,
Mm-hmm.
that where there is wrong, I may bring the spirit of forgiveness, that where there is discord, I may bring harmony.
Love Discord. Everybody should join dopeypodcast.com/Discord. Yeah.
I wonder why they don't call it harmony, they call it discord. Like, why would they call it discord?
The server?
Yeah.
I have no idea. All right, continue reading. I don't know.
That where there is error, I may bring truth. That where there is doubt, I may bring faith. That where there is despair, I may bring hope. That where there are shadows, I may bring light. That where there is sadness, I may bring joy. Lord, grant that I may seek rather to comfort than to be comforted, to understand than to be understood, to love than to be loved. For it is by self-forgetting that one finds, it is by forgiving that one is forgiven, and it is by dying that one awakens to eternal life.
And which poem is that?
the St. Francis prayer.
So it's part of Catholicism.
I don't know. I don't know. It's just, but it's a nice idea.
Yeah, it's a great idea. It seems like the ideal
Right.
idea.
But the idea that I'm thinking is that when you're getting involved with prayer and meditation, that you can be open to I don't mean necessarily like I pray that Howie gets what he
Right.
wants, but it's like the idea that I pray for your well-being
Yeah.
gives me well-being.
Yes.
That I'm more generous to you
Yes.
ultimately makes me more generous. It's the paradox that we had just talked
And
about.
everyone could benefit from that. It doesn't even have anything to do with AA. As a human being,
Right.
if you're just nice
And
to
that's
other
why
human
this
beings.
isn't the bummer. That's exactly why. Because
Yeah,
it's
from that perspective,
Exactly.
you're right, of course.
Stay strong, Dopey Nation. Fucking toodles for Chris.
Dopey, I'm face down on the floor. Dopey, please sir, can I have some more? Dopey, said Dopey.